The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, this bill has had a fairly robust airing over many months since it was first proposed by the government and put to the FEC. Sir, in the brief call that I have available, I'm going to touch on 3 points that other members have touched on because they are important, but secondly because there's been no explanation given from the government as to why they acted in such a way. Other members have mentioned that the bill fails completely to implement phase 2 of the anti-money laundering provisions in respect of lawyers, real estate agents, accountants. Now, no one in government, they've waxed on eloquently for many hours in this place in respect of how good this legislation is, what a great job it will do, but those particular 3 sectors of our economy are exposed in terms of their transactions and should have been catered for in this legislation. I was Associate Justice Minister when the then government implemented the anti-money laundering provisions, the FATF provisions in respect of banking and others, and we did it because it was international obligation, it was appropriate to do, and we called those interest groups in and we explained what we were going to do. We worked with them to minimise cost and we implemented. Now, no one from the Minister, the new Minister, the previous Minister, the Minister before that, has explained to us why those provisions aren't catered for in here. If there's a reason, there may be a logical reason. It would be helpful to know. No one in government has managed to tell us when phase 2 of the anti-money laundering rules and regulations will be implemented in any way, shape or form, as far as we know. So it would be, given it is an international obligation, appropriate for somebody in the government to provide some sort of direction on that. The government's made much of the so-called register, but again, no explanation from the Minister or the previous Minister who initiated this legislation as to why that register is not public. It's limited to IRD, DIA and the police. It is in no way public, and no one's been able to, I asked the question I think 3 times, as have other colleagues, as to where the mischief lies in having an open public register for the trustees, for beneficiaries, for anybody else in that space, where the mischief lies. Now, we've had government speaker after government speaker that's, as I say, said it's such a wonderful thing. Well, could they answer that simple question? Because this register does not meet the test of an open and transparent public register. If you are a foreign government and you are concerned about a nefarious activity in this space, you will not be able to, as a government or as an international authority, get access to this register. You will not be able to look at it. You have to go through other government agencies, but you won't be able to penetrate it in a transparent way and gain that information. The question I have for this government, if they're so concerned about transparency, if they believe this is world-class, best-in-class legislation, why they didn't make that public. Now, there may not be an explanation. I suspect there is, but they don't want to talk about it. I challenge the next National Party Speaker to take up the challenge on those 2 points. Mr Ross, he might, given that he's on FEC, might be able to answer those 2 questions. Why no public register? Well, no, I'm not. The member says he's not as smart as me. I'm smart enough to ask the question. He's not smart enough to provide an answer to the question. That's the difficulty. That's the difficulty we have, sir. The third, if he's such a smart guy, ring up and ask, answer the question.
I regret the time. It's time for us to have some kai. Someone will resume the chair at 7:30.